So you can say, yes, I know the nature. I can see it. You can see it in in the structure of things. You can see that everything becomes known, and you can see why that is, and you can see why that is in the structure of the solar system. So you've got philosophical ideas, almost abstract ideas, that are mirrored in the physical world around us. So you've got a rather abstract idea of God, which people can just laugh at because it's so abstract, but you can say, no, 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 you're not laughing at that anymore, because you look at this book, you read that, and then you tell me. Because that book was written by somebody who didn't want to write it, who had no idea what it was going to be. He was just a copywriter. But then he was presented with this book that he had to write. And then he gives this message to you. Now, you come up, dear atheist or whatever you are, with something as good as that, as extraordinary as that, as revealing as that, as open as that, as power-giving as that, then I might listen to you. Anyway, so this is just a little... I've made a few notes actually on some other things that I'm going to be talking about. But I've got some other notes that show, the astrology of God shows, men and women, they are equal but different. Just as the sun and moon, you see them in an eclipse, they're at the same size. But, of course, they're very different. The moon represents the womb side of things, the nurturing side, the grounding side in many ways, and the sun holds the solar system together. It holds that order. It's what is shining the light. That's the masculine side of things. It's got to hold the structure. It's got to say this is where we got to go. It's this way. I'm holding the structure. Yeah, and I've got some notes there. We've got to stop that fear, that silly fear of astrology and all this stuff, And of course, when I'm talking about astrology, I am only talking about astrology in relation to it teaching us about the nature of God, and that's all. That's what it's for. It's not for dancing around with horoscopes, things like that. And one of the things about God I also noted here, he wants to be known. Because when you are amongst knowledge, when you are knowledge, you are your greatest happiness. And if you know God, then you truly know yourself. And he wants to be known. He wants to be here in this world, seen or experienced in that way. He wants to be known. Obviously you can't do, sort of show him and say that's him over there. I mean, a lot of this, obviously, you can't say, look, there he is standing over there. And also, through that knowledge, through one of the great things about this book is one of the tenets of it, as I keep saying, is that everything must be known. And from that, of course, comes truth. And of course, honesty and integrity and justice. All these things come from the fact that everything wants to be known, including identity, and that is your identity as an individual, and your family's identity, and your community's identity, and finally your nation's identity. I explain in other places, I will go over this time and time again, no doubt, in the coming months, why a nation must have its identity and why its government must be run on justice, on true justice, which can only be directly in reflecting what we understand of God's justice. It's the only way a government can be run. It must be very small as well. So there are many areas that I'll be looking at on this website. And my feeling that I have as I speak is one of huge optimism and a great cataclysmic change. I can almost feel, I know that loads and loads of people's hearts are going to be opening. I know their minds are going to be opening. I know that. And I know that when that happens, they can stand in front of anything, because they are truly with God, the greatest and the most powerful, and of course the most loving, and, you know, as they say, the most merciful, and so on. You can look at all the definitions of the qualities of God in all the true religions. And so I know that that is going to be coming through us. And I know that because you're watching this, you've got an inkling of it. It's just a matter of working on it. I don't think there's anything you could do better than settle down with just a couple of books. You know what they are. The Astrology of God, A Message to Us All, and the scriptures that of your true religion, and just sit down and it begins to come alive. And I think that now, perhaps more than ever in the history of the world, that sort of thinking should be at the forefront of all things. And the great thing is, of course, as I was saying, you can just, I stepped outside last night, and the moon, stepped outside, and there were no stars in the sky or anything like that. And I stepped outside, and there was the moon, beautiful in the sky, and not far from it I could see Jupiter, bright and shining. And it just gave me that wonderful sense. Oh yeah, I know what's going on. And you can almost, because when you understand the nature, what the solar system means and what its motion means, as you will when you get to grips with the astrology of God, you just feel so connected to it all. You feel, well, that's all I can say. You feel immensely connected to it all, and it's hugely uplifting. It never fails to make me smile when I see that. Not just because, some people look at, it's a lovely view up there. And it is a lovely view, and it can make you feel peaceful. But when you understand, because you see, when you see the moon doing its bit and you see Jupiter doing its bit, suddenly in my head, I've got the solar system. I've got the structure of God. I've got the whole feel of it all. And everything connected with it. And it never fails to make me smile. Anyway, on that note, on that hopeful note, and there is going to be more hopeful stuff coming from here. It's not just going to be on that. I will be bringing all sorts of things in that, as I said, are directly related to current affair things, so we can really ground this. But as I said before, do spread this around. Do tell your friends. Do enjoy it, mostly. And I shall be in touch with you very soon, and I hope you're enjoying this Get God Back website. I know it's not huge yet, but it's all beginning. See you soon.